Hey everyone, it's Commander Shipp, and I'm here to review The Menu, starring Ralph Fiennes, Anna Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult.
Welcome to Hawthorne.
So the movie is directed by Mark Mylod, and that actually should have been our first tip-off that this was going to be a little different. He's done Ali G, he's worked on Succession and Shameless, which have their comedic elements, but also have some really strong dramatic arcs for the characters that are involved there. So The Menu, as much as parts of it are marketed as thriller, there's some surprisingly comedic moments in this movie. I found myself laughing hysterically at some of the things in the movie. Now, it could be that I have a dark sense of humor, so that could totally be it as well.
You told him it was my birthday?
Seemed funny about 3 hours ago.
But I was really impressed by those comedic arcs, and when it gets to the heavy conversations in this movie, it does really well. So what are those heavy conversations? Well, first let's set the stage. Nicholas Hoult playing Tyler and Anna Taylor-Joy playing Margot are a couple that go to the island restaurant Hawthorne. They're joined by some other elite guests, some wealthy guests, because the tickets are $1,250 a person. So the clientele that are going there have to have deep pockets to be able to afford that.
$12.50 a head, that's how.
What are we eating, a Rolex?
And you see different backgrounds. John Leguizamo is a sort of a washed-up actor. You have a food critic who's had a close connection to Ralph Fiennes' character, the chef in the movie. And so we get a little bit of their backgrounds, typical seeding of the background of the characters in the start of the movie. They arrive to the island, and again, you're getting your course of meals. But the chef, Fiennes' character, starts to give you little background pieces on each menu item as each course comes out. And the movie also does a really great job of setting up each vignette of, here is this course. And there's sometimes there's really clever nods to what's happened in the previous little vignette. And that gets continued on just beautifully. And basically there's one course that happens that initiates some of the things you may have seen in the trailers. I won't give that away if you haven't watched it. So if you haven't watched those, go into it with a blank slate. But there is one course that basically initiates the more terrifying or the more bizarre moments of this movie. And I've got to say, that was pretty good. That moment is for folks that are sensitive to moments like suicide and any kind of moments like that. Just be aware of that going in, and if you need to, read the description to get yourself prepared for that. But that inciting incident is really good, and then you start to really understand what's happening or what the crux of this is.
Who are you?
I am Margot. Why do you care?
I have to know if you're with us or with them.
Yep, so I won't say any more on that part because definitely don't want to spoil that for folks that are going to go in this with a fresh mind. But Fiennes plays the chef so well. He's the master in this movie, figuratively and literally, and just is the delivery of the different little vignettes talking about each course. Also trying to get into the skin or get into the backstories of all the different characters that are assembled there for this dinner is really good. There's a couple parts, particularly between him and Margot, played by Taylor-Joy, that are really solid. There's some moments where her character falls a little flat on her own, and that's not a knock on her as an actress. She's done great things in other movies. I just don't know if this was, at least in some spots, I don't think she did as well. And it primarily is her scenes with Nicholas Hoult. I don't know if they didn't gel well together. Just weren't. I wasn't feeling a lot of their scenes together. But her and Fiennes playing off of one another, I felt like those were really great. And then there's some moments where she's solo exploring the island, and I think work out really well also. But man, where this movie hits home as a reviewer and the reviewing culture, and I'm not in food review culture, so that's a different thing, because that taps into reality TV, food blog. There's even though we might have similar problems in the movie review culture, which I'm always on and out again as far as how I feel about it and my participation in it. That's a longer conversation. We can do that topic for another video. But what it covers in the food space is really interesting. The reviewer that's there and is the entire time just deconstructing all of these menu items. And in some ways it's cool. It's like it shows, and I think about it in the same way that, like, because I've watched so many movies, I have a breadth of and a library of things to think about and use when I'm reviewing something new, when I think about this movie. But it also means, or sometimes it can mean, that we're not able to let something stand on its 2 feet. So Janet McTeer plays Lillian Bloom, who is the food critic in the movie, and just as the chaos continues to weigh in or happen throughout the film, she's very aware of the predicament that she's in as the reviewer, but she's not getting this isn't a spoiler, but she's not getting singled out per se. Like, everyone there has their own things they need to go through, as determined by the chef. So she's not necessarily being singled out, but all of her problems are being laid bare. And the entire time she continues, like, she just can't turn it off. Her brain can't turn it off. As far as like critiquing and having that, like, the motors constantly running in her brain. And I'm thinking, like, oof, oof, this hurts. Oh, it hurts so bad. Because there's there's the pretentiousness of an elite being out of touch. There's definitely that part. But there's also just like your brain analysis. Like, it's not even necessarily critiquing. It's like your brain is on in that way. It's always thinking about that. Even in the face of death, her brain was still thinking about that. I'm kind of curious what this would look like if I had, we're in a similar situation. It was a director doing the same thing that Finney's chef does. So, no idea. But I thought it was wild. I thought it was wild. So those moments particularly spoke to me. Everyone may not have that experience, but I think there's a lot in this movie for everyone to pick up on. If you've worked food service, I think I think there's multiple tiers in this. So, some conversations I've seen online, ones I've had with friends, and comparisons I've already seen, and it may be unfortunate because this came out around the same time as Triangle of Sadness, which I have seen. It's been right on a review. Haven't had a chance to put that out yet. These are 2 different movies. They are covering similar themes, and they are both attacking elites and about problems, but I definitely think this one leans more towards the food space and problems in it. And there's a particular thing I would say for Ralph Fiennes' character that just stands out in comparison to Triangle of Sadness, because it's a lot more allegorical in Sadness, and seeing how we got to like take away our own thoughts on that, or there's some things that are more laid bare in the menu. So yeah, I definitely don't walk into this thinking it's going to be Triangle of Sadness. Yes, there's overlaps, but I think that's not fair to either movie. I don't think it's fair to Triangle of Sadness comparing it to this, because if you're only looking at how they critique capitalism or the power structures, then I would agree that Sadness does a better job of that. So that could be a problem with the studios. Maybe they shouldn't have released these so close together so that comparison doesn't happen. That could totally be fair. But I didn't walk into the menu disappointed that it wasn't Triangle of Sadness. That's just not. Don't get that one. But yeah, give you a score. I give this one a 7 out of 10. There's definitely some performances that are a little uneven, and it's not. I think the whole is really good, but there's going to be a couple performances. Anna Taylor-Joy in some spots is not great. The supporting cast in other spots is okay, and it kind of can show the threads bare of this movie. I think everyone will be talking about the chef. I think Ralph Fiennes' performance out of this is going to be talked about a lot, and I think it hopefully will get people talking as well. So, yeah, that's been me, Commander Shipp, talking about the menu.
He's not just a chef, he's a storyteller. The game is trying to guess what the overarching theme of the entire meal is going to be. You won't know till the end.
All right, and if you liked that review, let me know what you think. Throw something in the comments. And as always, you can support us on Patreon if you really love what we wrote and talked about here. All right, I'll see you all later.